So I don't have very much in bloom, but I do have a few miniatures or small orchids in bloom at this time. And the first one we're looking at here is Encyclia vitellina, which has had a name change, but that's what I call it. And I don't have as many flowers as I had last year, but the flowers are really, really beautiful. They're not very big and they're not scented, but they are extremely long-lasting. There's one that's opening up today, so that's kind of fun. So I imagine all of these will be opened before the end of October. And next to it is Angraecum didieri, which just opened up a couple of days ago. I featured this plant, I think, a month ago, 2 months ago, I can't remember, but it's second blooming this fall, and it was scented the first night it opened, and it's very, very spicy, beautiful fragrance. The flowers are not super long lasting, maybe about 10 days to 14 days, but it is a lovely plant, easy to care for, and other than being careful with those very brittle leaves which break easily, the plant is very easy to grow, so I highly recommend this one. This one's in lava rock in a plastic pot, and I don't think I'll be moving it much anyways, because most of the roots are growing outside now. So and there is a keiki there, I don't know if you can see it. There it is. So it's doing really well. I'm waiting for the roots to get long enough, and this one's tagged for Orchideya, probably next spring. Here's another one that I featured, Harryella retrocella, not that long ago, and this is its second flower, which is almost on its way out now. So the flower is quite lovely, lemon scented, kind of like Mr. Clean or Pine Sol lemon scent, something like that. It's very faint. It's not a super strong scent, and the flower seems to last like maybe about 2 weeks. But I don't know if you can see here, just above the flower, this could be the start of a third bud here, because that's what this one looked like about a month ago. And from my previous video, I had this in water culture, and now I've mounted it in this plastic netting with moss and perlite. I don't know, it just didn't seem to like the water culture all that much. Since then it's put out a lot of new roots, a lot of active roots, and there's a new leaf growing as well. Here is a Lepanthes hybrid, which I've already featured, I believe, in the springtime, but I've since repotted it in just this glass with a little bit of sponge rock on the bottom and a bit of moss. But at the moment it has this flower, this single flower, and the details are so pretty. I'm actually zoomed in, and it is really small. There's my nail for comparison, and these flowers grow sequentially on these lovely leaves. And that's it for flowers, but in the spike department, there's a few things growing which I'll be able to showcase maybe in a month or so. Depends how fast these spikes develop, but I just found this one today, and this is I think I featured him this springtime actually, but since featuring him this spring, I've put him in semi-hydro, I guess, and set up because I can't keep up with the watering with this plant. It just drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks. It grows quite long. It has at least a foot and a half to go before the flowers develop. So I'm just going to put it in a lot of bright light and see how it goes. Brsdm Golden Gamine White Knight. This is Oncidium Twinkle. This variety is just called Oncidium Twinkle Fantasy. I don't think I can focus on that. And I bought this from Forest View Gardens last year. It was already in spike when I bought it last year, but it took like 6 months for the flowers to develop. But this year the spikes are very late. They just popped out like maybe a couple of weeks ago, I don't know, something like that. There are 2 spikes this year. Yeah, there's one there. And this one's a bit more obvious. Right there. And there are many, 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 many flowers when this one blooms. I suspect it won't be in flower until January or February. So Oncidium Twinkle Fantasy. This one, this war-torn, battled Cattleya is Cattleya walkeriana. It's a very compact plant. I bought this maybe 3-4 years ago. It's been sunburnt, and actually I don't even know this is sunburnt. I think this is my LED lights that might have caused this. This plant has mostly always lived in a clay pot and lava rock. I repotted this guy this year, I believe, and I really didn't think anything would happen because it didn't do anything for the longest time outside this year. It does get summered outside, but lo and behold, there you go, 2 buds. And this, I can say with great certainty, is fragrant. It smells like cinnamon and roses, and the flowers are fairly long lasting, maybe a month at least. And Cattleya walkeriana has the strangest flowering habit. As you can see, it grows on something that looks like a pseudobulb, a new pseudobulb, but you actually have buds here. And the buds just emerged recently, and you don't know until they pop out what is actually growing. But this year it only grew this single pseudobulb because of the repotting. But it really was necessary because it was growing out of the pot. It was, the new roots just didn't have anywhere to go. And since then it's put out so many new roots. But that's all it concentrated on at first, and hence why it only grew a single pseudobulb. But they have to be fat. I didn't do anything special this year, and I've just kept it a tad bit drier than usual. It aborted last year. Unfortunately, the buds, I think, burnt in the light. I think the LED lights were too strong and it burnt the buds. So I'm really, really looking forward to these. It's one of my favorite plants. Really, really love this one. I wish I could buy more walkerianas, but there aren't many orchid suppliers that sell these anymore. I guess they're just selling the hybrids. So, but I really, really recommend this plant. It's very hardy. Just make sure you dry the roots in between waterings, because it doesn't like soggy conditions.